Chapter 3. A Love Story. When Claire and Adrian met, there was immediate sparkle between them. They felt as if they were meant to be together. Adrian felt deeply into Claire and asked her to move to London with him. Later, he convinced her to join his law firm, and they were very successful together as a team. They traveled a lot for business and, in some occasions, for pleasure. Claire had the illusion of getting pregnant, but she kept having health problems, ending up on miscarriages before the 10th week of pregnancy. She was diagnosed with a rare form of an immunologic disease that produces an excess of cells called NK cells that can kill any embryo trying to establish a home inside the body. Despite all the treatments and attempts from doctors to control it, she was having miscarriages that made her weaker every time. On top of it, she started suffering from depression and anxiety. The doctors recommended them to stop trying for a while and advised for an injected contraceptive with the goal to prevent another difficult pregnancy. That way, her body could recover. It could also buy them time to identify some possible treatments for her frequent health problems. Claire and Adrian decided to take a long trip and went to India. Some friends told them about the areas near the Nepalese border where towns and villages are quiet and relaxing, and the mountains bring fresh and healthy air. That's exactly what Claire needed at that moment. They chose to stay in an area named Sikkim. It was known as a hidden gem with scenic views of some of the highest mountains in the world. Sikkim is located northeast India, bordering China at north and east, Bhutan at east, Nepal at west, and West Bengal at south. It is a small town part of the eastern Himalayas. The famous highest peak in India and third highest peak in the world, named Kanchenjunga, is located here. They flew to New Delhi, then to Badogra Airport near the town Siliguri in West Bengal, and then got a helicopter to the town of Pelling. A very nice, exclusive, and hidden hotel was located overlooking the beautiful mountains. They had been through a lot of emotional roller coasters with Claire's health issues, and this was an opportunity to get some rest, heal, and recover. They knew that being in touch with nature was going to be the best medicine. India has a diversity of cultures that brings millions of visitors every year looking to find interior peace and relaxation. It is also among the favorite chosen countries for retirement of Western people. Zeke was called by the hotel manager to collect Adrian and Claire as soon as their helicopter landed. He was one of the most trusted young employees, with great people skills and good fluency in English. He liked to show tourists around and provide them with deep insights of the culture in the area. His parents were Muslim immigrants that moved there a long time ago and were able to get the trust of the locals. They all worked at the Pemajansi monastery. Sikkim is a diverse place in terms of religion. Hindus are the most predominant religions practiced by ethnic Nepalis and accounts for more than 50% of the population. Also Buddhists, Christians, Muslims, and Jainis. Hello, sir. My name is Sikh. I am your driver sent by the hotel, and I am also a tourist guide in case you need to go around. Sikh said politely at the heliport where Claire and Adrian landed. The beauty of the place and the magnificent mountains whispering around the wind passing through and producing a hollow echo amazed them. It was certainly a unique place to visit. As soon as they got their luggage, they headed straight to the hotel. I guess this is your first time here, Sikh asked politely. Yes, it is. We have decided to visit after recommendations from friends who came before. They also mentioned the beauty of this place and how relaxing it could be. I can see he was right, Adrian said. Claire was quiet in the back of the car, while Adrian was talking to Zeke, attempting to get information about the area so that he could gather enough ideas to choose which places to visit while they were there. Yes, Sikkim is a beautiful area in India that it has a lot to offer to tourists looking for peace. There are several activities and celebrations happening throughout the year, and that brings lots of attention among people around the world. They plan their visit according to the celebrations of the year. Right now we have Losar, and in 3 days the Pemajansi monks will celebrate the Cham dance, which marks the conclusion of Losar, Six said. By looking at Adrian and Claire's faces, he knew they didn't know what he was talking about. I am sorry, let me explain. Losar is a festival. It is marked on the Tibetan calendar to celebrate the arrival of Buddhism in Tibet and is celebrated for 15 days. Then the Pemajangsi monks celebrate the end of Losar with the Cham dance. That is a very impressive ceremony of celebration with costumes, dances, fire, and fireworks to drive away evil spirits while the monks are on meditation. I can make arrangements for you to come and watch. It is a very interesting festival for foreigners and bring lots of attention. Pilgrims from many areas of Sikkim come to take part of this celebration, and for the last years, the number of foreign visitors has been increasing. That is one of the many reasons hotels have been building and expanding to accommodate them here. I actually thought that you were among the tourists coming for the celebrations of the end of Losar. However, in case you wish to come to the festivals, let me know and I will arrange your activity. This is a good place to relax and find inner peace, Six said, looking at the mirror to check on Claire's expression. She seemed to be sad. I would love to go to that festival, Adrian. Can we go? Claire asked. Of course, dear. If you want to go, I will be delighted to take you, Adrian said. Sig, would you kindly make the arrangements for us to go to the festival? Adrian asked. Of course. I can coordinate everything for you to attend. The most important ceremony will happen in 2 days. I will contact you with the details of the visit. I can personally take you, Sig responded. Do they have excursions to the mountains? Claire and I enjoy hiking, and the view from the top of the mountains must be astonishing. These mountains are huge monsters in comparison to the ones we have hiked before, but we will welcome the challenge, Adrian said. Yes, of course. The hotel can make those arrangements for you. You will very much enjoy the view from the top, Six said. And you can't miss visiting the path area around the Kanchenjunga, the second highest mountain of the Himalayas and third highest mountain in the world. It is called the Five Treasures of Snow after its five high peaks. That mountain has always been worshipped by our people in Sikkim, Sik added. How interesting. And how high is the mountain? Adrian asked. A bit over 8,000 meters, Sik replied. Wow, I am sure we will get to see it a lot. Not sure if we could hike that altitude, though, Adrian said. Yes, in fact, your hotel resort has a full frontal view of the mountain. You will see it all the time. And no, sir, not recommended to be hiked all the way. But you can take the path, and it has very nice viewpoints along the way, Six said. Adrian and Claire looked at each other as to agreeing this area was definitely the best choice for them to go away for a few days. The hotel was beautiful and majestic. During the night, the lights covered the place all the way from the entrance to the end of the mountain where the hotel was located. It was a beautiful place built right inside the mountain, offering amazing views to their guests. A big wooden door was at the entrance, with symbols painted on it. The road was all covered with red and silver stones, and a paved way showed the direction of the entrance. Even during the night, the front mountains could be seen in the dark. They were standing there, in front of them, showing their beauty and greatness. Claire immediately felt relieved when she got out of the car and saw the mountains in front of her. She felt peace in the air she was breathing. It was as if the mountains were providing oxygen again, filled with health. The door at the entrance is traditional in most monasteries and hotels in the area. It has symbols of Tibetan beliefs, Sid said. A very nice and polite gentleman was waiting for them at the entrance of the main living room. Sid asked them to enter while he took care of the luggage. The gentleman was wearing a long red tunic with black figures and symbols at the end of the tunic. He didn't have any hair, not even eyebrows. He looked spooky at the beginning, but his smile made them feel comfortable. "Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Hearn," he said. "My name is Saik, the hotel manager, and I am delighted to welcome you today. We are glad to have you here and hope you get to enjoy your stay. If you please follow me, I can show you around and to your room," Said said. He started to walk with them across the big corridors with clear windows, but they couldn't see much of the outside because it was already very dark. They took a glass elevator that seemed to be outside the hotel, perhaps as a scenic viewpoint, but it was difficult to distinguish the view, although they noticed the floor was also glass. Once the doors opened, they go to a massive room filled with lots of paintings and photographs of the area. Renowned artists signed the artworks. Claire was ecstatic looking around because she was an admirer of art. She used to spend most of her trips to Madrid at the Museo del Prado with her father. Mr. Said saw her expression and said, courtesy of several painters, artists, and photographers who have also been our guests and found their inspiration here, Mrs. Hearn. "They are beautiful. You have a priceless gift here," Claire said, admiring around. "Yes, we do. Some painters come here to get out of the world and paint. They usually leave us some of their work as a present and reminder of their good time," Said said. "Oh my God, is that the God's Eye view by Andreas Gursky?" Claire asked. "Yes, Mr. Gursky is a frequent guest, and he also enjoys this area and finds it inspirational for his work," Said replied. Claire was an admirer of Mr. Andreas Gursky since she visited one of his exhibitions in New York and became hooked by the power of his work. He sold the most expensive photograph ever sold for several $1,000,000 and is considered one of the most influential photographers working today. His works are named the God's Eye view of the world. I wanted to show you this area because it is one of the favorite of our guests. You can use it for reading and meditating if you wish. Our guests usually say the place brings something different to their feelings and inspiration, Said said, looking at Claire. "Shall we continue?" he asked. They took the elevator again to the 6th floor, which opened into a room that resembled a clear glass capsule with 2 corridors, one leading to a door and the other one to a living room with glass walls. "My God, I had never seen anything like this," Adrian said. "Is this really safe? It seems as if we are inside of glass on top of a very tall mountain. It is a bit scary," he added while he was looking down and around. "Don't worry. This hotel is perfectly safe, constructed by a very well-renowned architect. The material is not glass. It looks like it and allows you to see everything outside. However, it is very strong. You will be perfectly safe here," Said said. "Please come inside. This is the door to your room," he added, signaling the way to the end of the corridor where the door was. "Well, thanks. This is really nice and new for us. This view is a bit scary at the beginning, but I'm sure we'll get used to it in no time," Adrian said. "I know. Believe me, you are not the only one manifesting his concerns, Said said to comfort Adrian. This is your room, and I will leave you to rest now. Breakfast can be taken here or in any area of the hotel you wish. Have a pleasant night. If you need anything, please let us know, he added, leaving the room. Thanks, Mr. Said, Adrian said. Wow, Adrian, this is so beautiful. I'm speechless, Claire said while looking around the room that was more like a huge glass apartment. I bet the view must be amazing during the day, she added. I know, love. This is really nice. Would you like something to eat? Are you hungry? Adrian asked. Starving, she replied while kissing his neck. He took her waist and turned her to be facing back, placing his body behind her as his hands moved around her torso and hips, caressing her breasts carefully. Then he kissed her neck softly, and she was enjoying it. He turned her to face him and started kissing her lips, then increasing intensity until they were both on top of a large cream leather sofa, placed right by the fireplace. They spent the whole night making love. It wasn't until 4 a.m. when hunger made them stop and call room service for some food. They realized they hadn't had any food for several hours. They ordered chicken burgers and fries. They watched a black and white movie, and by sunrise, the view was astounding, and they got to see it all. How beautiful. This really means peace for me. Here by your side, and enjoying what Mother Nature has to offer, she said. They were both admiring the amazing view of the Canchenjunga mountain, making its entrance into the first light of the day. They held hands while the majestic mountains witnessed their love. Adrian turned to his wife and said, Claire, we have each other, and I will always love you no matter what. I just want you to be happy. I wish I could give you everything you need. You give me everything I need because you are all I need right now. And I accept if my destiny is not having babies. I think we are at the end of this quest. Now I just want to enjoy our time and to love you. Do you feel my love and desire for you? Claire asked while holding his hand. I do, Adrian answered. Then he kissed her again, softly, removing her shirt and wrapping her around his arms. They made love again, admiring the view of the mountains and the blue sky of a clear morning day. It was already noon when they awoke. You are such a bad influence on me. Look at the time. We are still naked in bed, Claire told him, kissing his ear. Love, I just know that if you do that again, we will stay here longer, Adrian said. Oh no, please, I am starving again. And it would be good to get some fresh air outside, Claire said. We can do that, love. Look there, Adrian said. There was a balcony opening on the side of the living room. You cheeky person, do you want to do it outside? Claire asked. Why not? We have all we need. Fresh air outside, naked bodies, and desire, he said, touching her breasts with desire. All right, she said. I guess I will need to work to earn my food, she added, moving outside naked. Sometimes life is not fair, Adrian said, and came to her, slowly holding her waist against his. He started kissing her passionately. They were both naked already. He picked her up and she placed her legs around his waist. He took her to the balcony and made love again, enjoying the fresh air and view around. Okay, dear, it's already 5 p.m. and I'm officially starving, Claire said. I know, me too. We are in need to eat something. We have been eating each other all day, but I need food, he said. That sounds so weird in so many levels, she said, laughing. I know, I thought so too, he said while standing in the middle of the living room, thinking about what he just said. All right, let's go. I will take you out for a nice dinner, he added while he was getting dressed. The restaurant on the ground floor was beautiful, decorated with glass walls and silk white. The tables were black, which produced an interesting contrast with the rest of the decoration that was white. The chairs were black and clear, and they looked comfortable. A few people were enjoying an early dinner, drinking some wine and listening to a pianist that was playing a soft melody in the background. The place was absolutely romantic. Claire and Adrian got a table right by the balcony. She was wearing a short white strapless dress, her long blonde hair over her shoulders matching her orange stilettos, and her slender figure looked beautiful under the candlelight. Adrian was used to people looking at her wife all the time. She was too beautiful. That was exactly what happened during their entrance, when other guests were literally staring at her. She was definitely unique, and Adrian always felt as the luckiest man alive. They had a nice meal accompanied by red wine and had the chance to revive all great and special memories of past trips together. They remembered when they made up after a fight on a flight from Beijing to London, and when they got lost sailing in the Bahamas. They lost the car keys during a scenic drive through the Swiss Alps and needed to wait hours to get the replacement from the rental office. The problem was not just losing the keys, it was the freezing cold weather out there, Adrian said, remembering the event. I asked you not to take that photo. That's why you lost the keys, honey, Claire said, laughing. It was worth it, he said, laughing too. It was great for them to be able to talk and laugh about past events. They finally got the chance to completely disconnect from the rest of the world. It felt for them as another opportunity to enjoy a honeymoon after 10 years together. You know I love the way you smile, Adrian said to her. I know, you always say that, she said while drinking a glass of wine. My love, I don't care if we don't have children at the end. We have each other, and that's what matters now. I will always be with you, by your side, no matter what, Adrian said and held her hand softly. I know. I think it's time to let it go. We have tried too many times and encountered problems. I won't keep trying to have a baby. I am so happy by your side, and that's all that matters to me now. Having you is the best gift for me, she said, looking at his eyes. Love, we will be all right, and I will make sure you are happy and fulfilled with me. I know it's not the same, but I will always work to make you happy, he said, kissing her hand. Thanks for so much. Thanks for fighting for me and for being part of my life, and especially thanks for making me happy, she said, caressing his hands. I am all yours, will always be. I was born for you. I knew it since the first time I saw you. You are my meaning, Claire Hearn, Aidan said. The day he met Claire, his whole life changed. He couldn't think about anything else apart from being near her. Since the day they met, they couldn't be apart anymore. They slept together the first night and for the rest of their future nights. It was love at first sight for both of them. It was hard to be away from her. They decided to marry to be together all the time, and Claire made the decision of leaving everything in Spain to start a new life by his side in London. She didn't regret it. Instead, every day she fell more in love with her husband. The day I met you, my life changed, he said. You got control of my mind, my body, my soul. You enchanted me, he added. Ha, honey, it might have been the other way around. You enchanted me, she said, laughing. I actually thought our relationship wasn't going to last because we slept together the first night, she added, covering her face. It was amazing, the best I have ever had in my life before. But it wasn't just about sleeping together. I realized I needed to marry you because I was already in love with you from the moment my eyes saw you, Adrian said. How could you be in love with someone after just a few hours? She asked. I have no idea how, but I did. And look, I am still in love, Adrian said. Well, the paradigm about not sleeping with someone on a first date is not true for us, she said, sipping her wine. Love, that wasn't a date. I kind of kidnapped you from the party, he said. It was worth it, though, he added. Yes, and I like the way you did it, she said, winking her eye to him and sipping more wine. After dinner, Claire and Adrian decided to go out for a quiet night walk around the area. The place was safe, and the hotel concierge gave them some tips of places to go and visit on foot during the night. A village was very close to the hotel, and people used to gather around the main square to sing and meet with friends. It was a bit chilly, so they both had their coats on. As they walked around the area, the sounds of people on the streets and the vibes of happiness were palpable. People living in that area are so isolated from the rest of the world that they seem to be happy and to live longer. Their diet is healthy, and the air of the mountains provides clean air for their bodies. It was definitely a beautiful walk, and they enjoyed it. When they go back to the hotel, they decided to lie in bed and watch another movie together. They really needed to rest after not sleeping much for 2 days. Adrian phoned Sig to make the arrangements for the festival next day. They agreed to meet in the afternoon. At some point in the middle of the movie, they both fell asleep with the TV on. Around 2 a.m., Claire opened her eyes because she was hearing a voice calling for her from the distance. It was a female voice that she never heard before, but sounded very familiar. It was calling her name and also called her Mom. She felt her skin getting goosebumps, and the voice echoed on her ears as if she was listening to music. She was standing in front of the balcony, and the wind was bringing the sound with the voice calling for her. She wasn't scared or worried about hearing the voice. She was intrigued. Then she felt her husband's hand on her shoulder. Love, are you all right? He asked, half asleep. Yes, I just couldn't sleep for a moment and decided to get some fresh air. I also need to go to the bathroom, she said and went to the bathroom, then returned to bed. It was difficult for her to sleep after hearing the voice, but exhaustion was more powerful. After a few minutes, she managed to fall asleep again, hugging her husband. He held her hands. Next day, Sig was on time collecting them to go to the festival. It was a beautiful sunny day, and the view was gorgeous. Earlier, they had a great walk followed by brunch. I am glad to see you both again. I am sure you are having a great time here. I have everything prepared, starting with a tour to the Pemajangsi Monastery and followed by the chant dance and ritual tonight. We might be back past midnight, Sig said. Ritual? Claire asked. I thought it was just a dance, she added. I will explain, Sig replied. The ritual is a ceremony that happens the night of the chant dance, and it is performed at the Orphean temple not too far away from here, Sig said. We haven't heard of that temple before, Adrian said. Because just a few people know about it, Sig replied. It is not shown on any map, and an invitation is needed to visit it. I have got you covered, though, if you wish to visit, Sig said. All right, said Claire. On their way to the monastery, Sig started to explain about Sikkim's landmarks. We are right in the nest of the Himalayan mountains, with elevations between 300 meters to over 8,500 meters. This state has 28 mountain peaks and more than 80 glaciers. The Kachenjunga National Park is shared between three countries, Nepal, India, and Bhutan, covering an area of about 22,000 kilometers. Here we are located in Pelin, north of Sikkim. The capital, Gangtok, is about 115 kilometers from here. This is an area where you will get to see several species of birds that live just in this area. And if you're lucky, you might get to see the red panda, which is our state animal, Six said. The road was rocky and difficult to transit, and they were trying to concentrate on Six explanations, but it was hard with the poor conditions of the way. Although he was very enthusiastic with the explanations, and they felt interested on listening. I am sorry the roads here are really bad. The government is working on improvements. That's why the hotel prefers sending the guests with the helicopter, Six said. How long have you lived here? Adrian asked. All of my life, Six replied. I have traveled though. I have been to Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, Sri Lanka, and even to the sacred Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia as part of my pilgrimage. My family is from the minority of Muslims in the area, and we have been working with the monks for generations. We have a lot to be grateful for, Six said. Remarkable. So you grew in the area. That's why you know it so well, Adrian said. We did visit the holy rock of Ranidunga. We went there on foot, he added. That is great. Most tourists miss the rock because it is too high and a bit far for them on foot. But I used to go there with friends all the time. I am local, so I guess I am used to that hike, Six said. Well, it is pretty steep indeed, but we found it to be a beautiful hike and a very interesting place to visit, Adrian said. It is, Six said. We can see the monastery now. He added, signaling the temple that could be seen from the distance. The Pemajangsi Monastery is a Buddhist monastery located 2 kilometers from Pelin. It was planned, designed, and founded by Lama Laksun Khenpo in 1705 and is one of the oldest monasteries of Sikkim. The monastery was built for pure monks, meaning monks of pure Tibetan lineage, celibate and without any physical abnormalities, and they are entitled to the title Tashang. Pemajangsi means perfect sublime lotus, and it is said to represent one of the four plexus of the human body. Sikh explained. The temple was built as a 3 stories structure and has paintings on the walls and statues of saints and rinpoches. The main prayer hall had colorfully painted doors and windows. This monastery has a great collection of ancient Buddhist antiques and decorated paintings. The view of Mount Kachensonga is impressive from here, as you can see. We are now at an elevation around 2,085 meters, explaining the scenic views from the monastery. Sikh continued. Impressive. Thanks for bringing us here, Adrian said, excited while the car was parking. They are now in celebrations of the Losar, being the celebration of the arrival of Buddhism to Tibet, as I mentioned to you last time. Today is the last day, and they will do the Cham dance. And this is a very important celebration for the Pemajangsi, so I am sure you will enjoy it, Six said. Very nice, Claire said. The afternoon went by, and Six showed them around the temple in the areas that were permitted during Losar. During the whole time, Claire had the feeling she was being watched. It was the same feeling she had the night before when she heard someone calling her name. She was quiet and observing every detail of the monastery with curiosity and admiration, while Sikh explained the history and some interesting remarks. Everything seemed to be perfectly located for a purpose. There were several ornaments and paintings. There was a drawing of a monk dancing around a solar system, dressing in orange and black. There was another one of a monk on the top of the moon, receiving an instrument resembling a small violin. The paintings all included music and musical instruments on them. I can notice the Pemajansi like music. They have drawings and paintings related to music everywhere, Claire said. Yes, you are indeed a very good observer. Music has always been an essential part of their tradition. Some legends even relate the Pemajansi sect as descendants of the Orphean teachings, Six said. Do you mean from Orpheus, the Greek musician? Claire asked. Yes, Orpheus as the legendary musician, poet, and prophet in ancient Greek mythology. Legends about him focus on his ability to charm all living things, and even stones with his music, not to mention his escape from the underworld to save his love Eurydice, Six said. You must be confused. Legend says Orpheus died during his attempt to rescue Eurydice from the underworld. Claire said, confused. Greek mythology was a subject she was always passionate about. There have been many stories about Orpheus's death. However, according to these monks, he actually never died. He was immortal because his father Apollo gave him that gift. He then needed to escape Gaia, the place where he lived with Eurydice, because King Hades was upset for hypnotizing him with his music and escaping from the underworld with Eurydice. Legend says he came to Earth and he was so advanced that his instruments were actually scientific tools to be able to control the waves of sound, time, and energy, creating interdimensional portals, Six said. Fascinating legend. It will be nice to read about it, Claire said. I thought Orpheus's father was Oeagrus, the Thracian king. Well, at least that is what I studied a long time ago. But this is a very interesting version, Sig, she said. Also, the legend states that Orpheus is not alone, that he is with Eurydice, Sig said. You can actually have a look at that mural over there. Sid continued, signaling them to a mural that was at the end wall of the right side. There were several drawings and figures carved on the stone, with a sequence of events of a man holding a woman's hand and leaving a cave. They were kissing, they seemed to be discussing something with a song, then in front of a huge black tunnel, and they were coming into the solar system and are signaling planet Earth. This mural is fascinating, said Adrian, while examining the carvings and paintings, observing it from close view, and walking backwards to contemplate it from a distance. The mural itself is interesting, Six said, but there is something even more interesting about it, he added. It has been studied by archaeologists and it appears to be over 10,000 years old, Six said. How is that possible? Adrian asked. The Pemajangsi do not have that long, he added. Yes, but as I mentioned, the legend says they are descendants of Orphean teachings, and he was here with them. They are believed to be his followers on earth since ancient times, he added. Fascinating. It is a mix between Greek and Indian stories. It makes sense in a way, Adrian said. Actually, many years ago, India was part of the Greek Empire. After the Gaian War, gods came to fight on Earth to fight for their powers. Many of them even came to live here. Apparently, they chose different areas of the world, including Sikkim. And that is why our descendants keep God's DNA on them. That war ended with the great god Cronus abandoning Gaia and living on exile. Legend says he was displaced by his own children, Six said. You know your legends, Adrian said, fascinated by the passion of Six storytelling. We learn our history since we are 3 years old here. Our parents think it is important for us to know about our ancestors and to respect them, and to be prepared in case they need us to go to battle. According to the legend, some very important gods live here, and we protect them. But there are rumors of another war coming to Earth soon. Even the monks have been receiving that message during their long meditations, Six said, worried. Do you mean they get messages when they meditate? Who sends the messages? Claire asked, intrigued. The messages come from anywhere in the universe, but in this case, mostly from Gaia, which is located really far away from here, Sig replied. Adrian and Claire shared a confused look, but Sig seemed to be pretty sure of what he was saying. I am giving you the tour and letting you know about this region's ancient history. It is a fascinating story, but also a bit complicated. If you want me to stop, please let me know so I can show you around without talking in much detail. Some tourists find our story a bit overwhelming and sometimes do not like many details, as they get confused by it. It goes too much against their beliefs and the knowledge of their own history, Six said. What about you and your religion? You are Muslim, so how can you understand this? Claire asked. All religions have a lot in common in different ways. My religion has a lot to do with the guidance and orientation of the messages we get from Allah. Our messages through prayer are powerful and filled with wisdom. And we learn to respect diversity and opinions. I respect the monks, and they respect me. That's how our system works perfectly well, and it has worked like this for generations, Six said. Remarkable, Claire said. As they got closer to the mural, they could see more interesting details. Whoever did this was very talented, Adrian said, admiring the detailed carving and painting of the mural. The monastery was constructed around the mural, Six said. It has been well protected for the people, he added. Some people claim to have visions of future events after staring at the mural for a long time, Six said. Have you had any visions? Adrian asked. Just a weird one that a very powerful country was going to have their first president of color, Six answered. After a few more looks into the fascinating mural and a tour around the gardens of the monastery, Sig took them to some very interesting hanging bridges outside the monastery that connects the monastery with neighbor mountains. The area was peaceful, and they could hear the sound of people singing back at the monastery. They were celebrating Losar. Adrian noticed that the monastery was built in a way that allowed it to receive direct sunlight during the day. It was a beautiful and peculiar architecture, especially because the monastery is located up in the mountains. It had a Greek architecture resemblance. The chant dance will start soon. We should get going, Six said. Is it a long way from here? Adrian asked. The Orpheus Temple is located about 45 minutes from here by car. Because of the conditions of the road, it takes a bit longer. They will be celebrating the cham dance, followed by the ritual, Six said. All right, let's wrap it up then, Adrian said. Dear, are you ready? He asked Claire. Yes, darling, we can go, she answered, but she seemed to be focused on something else while answering. What is it, my love? Are you all right? Adrian asked her. It's just, I have. It's nothing. I'm fine, she answered vaguely. Love, please, let me know if you are fine or need to rest. I want you to enjoy this. He turned to her and said it, touching her cheek. I am well, darling, honestly, she replied. She didn't want to mention the voice again, calling her name in the distance. She could hear it clearly. Claire, Claire. And she even heard a girl's voice calling Mom. She was trying to dismiss it, but she could hear it as soon as she entered the monastery. The voice didn't sound distressed. Instead, it was calm and provided Claire with a feeling of warmth inside. Thanks for the tour. It was a very interesting one, and I think we can learn a great deal of things, Claire said to Sig. I am glad you liked it, Sig replied. Now please fasten your seatbelts because the road is a bit rocky, Sig added. Do many people visit that Orphean temple? Adrian asked. Yes, hundreds of people visit the temple during the cham dance, mostly because of the ending ritual. It usually reveals something very important for the world. Many Orphean followers travel from different places in the world to come and witness the ritual. It drives away spirits, but most importantly, it is a transmission of direct messages from the gods as a gift to beings on earth, Six said. Claire and Adrian exchanged intrigued looks. Wow, that sounds intense, Adrian said. I thought so too at the beginning, but when I was allowed to witness the ritual for the first time, I realized there is something in it that we can't explain logically. You will see it yourself, Six said. Good to know that, Adrian said. You will meet Mr. Adam there. He has been running the temple for many years, even before I was born. I asked his permission to bring you, and he agreed immediately. You will like him because he's a very nice man, Six said. Interesting he agreed to let us be present during the event when it looks as it is very private, Claire said cautiously.